The Hilton sale is on. Now through September 29th, you can save up to 20% on stays this fall and beyond. Long weekends, last-minute getaways, holiday gatherings. There's a Hilton stay for all of them. More moments, more experiences, more destinations. Now 20% off for a limited time because it matters where you stay. Don't wait. Book by September 29th and save up to 20% at Hilton.com. Terms apply. Hilton for the stay.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
The More Money Show with Steve Moore. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back, folks. This is the More Money Show. This is Steve Moore, economist. By the way, I hope everyone is getting the More Money hotline, which is absolutely free. It costs nothing. Just go to unleashprosperity.com and click on hotline, and you will get our daily update on what's going on economics, on politics, on finance. I know a lot of people around the country. We have about 200,000 subscribers to that. And by the way, it's free. It costs nothing. You just have to sign up for it. By the way, my next guest, Bob Nardelli, who is a regular on this show and has become a good friend and a real mentor to me. He, of course, is Bob Nardelli, the former CEO of Home Depot. He ran Chrysler. He worked for the great Jack Welch at General Electric. I always say that Bob Nardelli has the Midas touch. Everything he touches turns to gold. So Bob, thanks so much for joining.
Steve, thank you very much. You're always so kind with that introduction. And let me just add my support to More Money on the hotline. I read it religiously every morning. And everybody that will...
thank you.
Everybody I talk to, as usual, I send you a note where I tell them to subscribe, and I get 100% thumbs up from all of those people, Steve. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Bob. I really appreciate it. And we have so many important people like you reading it. We have congressmen, senators, governors, CEOs. So thank you so much. And by the way, it's free, folks. Just go to unleashprosperity.com. Okay. Lot to talk to you about this afternoon, Bob. I want to start with I always feel like you are one of the few people who really has the finger on the pulse of the labor market, business conditions. I was somewhat disturbed by Jerome Powell's assessment of the economy. It was very dour. I thought it was very dire. It was, we're only going to grow at 1.5%. We got all these labor problems and the economy is going to get worse. And I'm thinking, well, gee, as I'm looking at these statistics, they look pretty good. Are there some problems? Yes. Grocery prices are still too high, but gas prices have come down a lot. There are still 6-7 million job openings in this country. So how would you assess right now the outlook for the U.S. economy?
Yeah. Thank you, Steve. Yeah, I listened very carefully to the chairman, and you and I have had discussions about this. I wasn't surprised at his narrative. There obviously is continued animosity between he and President
right.
Trump, unfortunately.
Right.
I think somewhat begrudgingly, he took it down a quarter point. And, Steve, you and I talked about the robust reaction to that. We saw the Dow go up to 36, 315. So there's a lot of believers out there that, the indication that we might get 2 more this year. And there's some thoughts about even getting it lower next year. But, we saw the 4.25 to 4.5 go down, to 25 points, and some projections that will go to maybe 3.25, 350. Right. Wow. Others are saying maybe below 3 by 2026, and I think a lot of that will. So that, be,
by the way, that what we're at, what do we have? 4.5 today, or 4. What is the rate today?
They're saying to project it was 4.25 to 4.5, and now with a quarter point, they're telling what I read was 4.42.
Got it.
Right.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. And
so you're saying they may cut? You think they may cut another 50, or the market believes another 50 to 75 basis point cut may be in the works?
I think they're thinking about each meeting. We got two more meetings, so even maybe a quarter point each meeting, which would then get us down into that range. And then there's there was some speculation that it could go lower next year, and a lot of that's going to depend upon the other 2 or 3 points you made. And let me just reflect a little bit. If you think about GDP, your question, at the end of last year we were about 2.4%, and then we hit the ditch a little bit in the first quarter.
We did,
What I felt with all the businesses, both public and private, I'm actively involved in, chairman, boards, what have you. A lot of that we felt was an inventory pullback. I think everybody got extremely concerned with the overall, what do I always say, the certainty of uncertainty going forward. So we saw the pullback big time
was that a result of the tariffs, or?
I think, it's just
partly
some of the confusion, right, Steve, that's out there. And, but the good news is, look, it bounced back at the end of the second quarter, right, Steve? At 3.3, we saw inventory start to come back.
Yeah, good numbers.
Consumer and rebound, exactly what you said. I think there's still some angst on the inflation numbers. If you look at that, where are we on core of 3.1? Of course, that takes food and energy out, and the standard CPI is about 2.9%, according to the Philadelphia Feds. So I think there's still, to me, it's a mixed market, and it's mixed industries out there. Energy is off the charts. I mean,
amazing.
I've been this, as long as you and I have known each other, I've been a real zealot on energy independence. I was shocked we surrendered it under the last administration.
Terrible,
it's roaring back. The biggest geopolitical thing we lost with the last administration, Steve, was we stopped shipping LNG.
Yes.
Now it's plentiful.
Now we're doing it again.
We'll do that again.
And by the way, we were just playing into the hands of the Russians and our enemies when we stopped that production.
Exactly. I mean, you might as well turn your cards over and then bet. I mean,
exactly.
it was so blatantly obvious. And I think a lot of the bureaucracy, look, a lot of companies are doing right voluntarily on energy conservation and pollution in the environment. They can't be driven to a point that's not achievable. Steve, it's like trying to schedule an invention, right? You and I both know
that's not the truth.
Hard to do. And I think we're getting some more, keep it simple, keep the industries, at full tilt if you can, capacity wise. It covers a lot of your costs, your overhead, your variable overhead rate. So I'm encouraged with what I'm seeing. There's still a lot of angst with the global unrest. I think there's still these extensions in the tariffs, again, causing some hesitancy on capital costs and capital bets. We see some companies doing right voluntarily. I've talked about some of those that, are putting brick and mortar into the ground, building new factories. I thought it was interesting when I read the article about Nippon wanting to close the steel plant in Granite City, Illinois. Now, this is a small town. I know it very, very well.
Yes. You and I are both from Illinois, right?
What administration said? No, you're not doing it. There's 800 people there working, and our deal was you can't shut a plant without our approval. That was kind of the quid pro quo in that negotiation. Remember when they agreed to buy a U.S. steel?
Yep.
So I don't mean to be rambling, but I think overall we're moving in the right direction. Overall, I see more positives than negatives. Yep, there's still some uncertainty out there, but I'm confident we're gonna bring that to base, Steve.
That's Bob Nardelli, by the way, folks. He is former CEO of Home Depot and Chrysler. He worked for the great Jack Welch at GE. That's a good training ground, by the way. So, Bob, we just got a couple minutes left. Two other issues I wanted to, that's a great assessment, by the way. It's a great assessment because I agree with it. So I agree with every word you just said. But I wanted to ask you about two questions. One is, you and I have been talking a little bit about aluminum tariffs. I think the aluminum tariffs are ill-advised. We put 50% tariff, but we use so much aluminum in this country for the things that we produce. And I think it may actually be costing more jobs than we make.
Yeah. Well, you've identified a real sensitive point. I think there's some confusion, if I could say it that way, Steve, between steel and aluminum.
Yes.
And I'm not sure we should, group those into the same tariff issue for a couple of reasons. One,
well, we make steel in the United States, but we don't make aluminum, right?
Well, we don't make aluminum for a couple of reasons, right? We don't have bauxite to the degree that we have other raw materials. Number two, if you want to put a smelter here in the United States to create ingots, aluminum ingots, then shut down all of your data centers because it will suck the power, right out of the and we're better off with AI because of productivity and so forth. So, we also are the largest recycler of aluminum. Yeah. So we're from 6.
Well, we got to wrap, Bob. But thank you so much for coming on. This is the More Money Show, folks, and we will be right back.
Thanks for listening to More Money with Steve Moore. You can hear More Money with Steve Moore Saturday afternoons at 1. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder,
what the heck is going on here?
DC politicians want to enact harmful credit card mandates that could take away your cash back and rewards points. Perks that stretch your budget and make life a little easier. Losing these benefits means less money for your family's everyday essentials like gas and groceries. The perks you rely on could disappear, leaving you with higher costs and fewer options. Tell Congress to guard your card and oppose the Durbin-Marshall credit card mandates.
Paid for by Electronic Payments Coalition.